Show you how to run that.
Yeah. So tap to the left, not to the right.
All right, it's 8:15. We'll get this party started. No liquor licenses.
Hey, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda and minutes as presented, and there are no liquor licenses today.
I second it.
We've got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Agenda look good for you guys?
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Hello, visitor.
Hello. You ready for me?
Yes.
All right. I just have a couple of quick updates for you from public health and COVID-19.
Thanks.
We're here to visit. This,
Right.
yep. This was a press release from yesterday. As of yesterday, we had 4 confirmed cases. We have a total positive number of cases at 79 in Mills County. 38 of those cases are recovered. 2655 individuals have been tested, and our positivity rate is at 3.1%. We like that to be under 3, so we're creeping up a little bit. Probably the thing to take note of on this press release is that going forward we will be releasing a weekly update instead of a daily update. We've noticed that in our entire region, other public health have gone to a weekly reporting. I think when it comes out every single day, it just becomes routine. And so I also think it's kind of interesting for our population to see what we're doing 1 week at a time and how those numbers are doing for us. So Joe from the paper would also like, after we release the numbers to you on Tuesday mornings, to get the numbers over to him by 9 o'clock on Tuesdays. Told him we could do that. I just have a couple of other documents that I attached for your review. The Iowa Department of Inspections and Appeals has put forth some efforts to strengthen the social distancing requirements for food and alcohol businesses, and they've got their progressive discipline steps on the lower third of that document. I don't know, Larry, if you want to add anything to that.
Well,
That would not be on the return to work.
this kind of came out, it was kind of surprising, it wasn't, well, I guess it wasn't surprising, but it was surprising this late in the game that after all these proclamations by the governor, that they apparently have been getting reports statewide of it's not quite working so well in bars and restaurants, or combination bars and restaurants, probably more bars, I'm guessing. And so they may have been done some random inspections, I don't know, but they're really not the people the enforcement arm. Normally when you are doing checks for compliancy, they normally embrace local law enforcement and go out and do spot checks, like Chief Johansson would go out to the quick shop Casey's and have somebody go in there that's underage, try and buy liquor, smokes, just to ensure that they're complying. In the health side, I'm assuming only if they get reports. So the big issue concern here is that they put this out and they state it, and it's pretty hefty fines. First fine $1,000. Second hit is 7 days, you're shut down. And third hit is, well, I guess you're done for a while until you can reapply later. That's pretty stringent. It's kind of like what we did in the flood, and we're trying to lock down an area and protect property. Is that you got to let people know that if you go in there, it's not only unsafe for you to go in there, but you're going to be paying out of your pocketbook if you get caught. I'm guessing this is like other things we've had, is that it's under the jurisdiction of law enforcement, whether it be state and local, that use good judgment. And I imagine a lot of times you'll see law will warn, whatever, they probably have the authority to do that. I know in the governor's proclamation, they kind of talked about that a little bit, using good judgment. But apparently this is a little progressive discipline piece that they are concerned about. I don't know, within town, I'm pretty sure it'll be embraced. I'm just not sure. The unincorporated area, we've had some isolated reports through this whole event of non-compliance. And it's just, and then you keep getting those calls. Julie gets them, I get them, we get emails. We've even had a law enforcement official go out to a site just to pick up food and walk in, and they weren't complying, but it's out of his jurisdiction. So what do you do? I mean, that's a pretty credible report, and I don't know what else to do with that. So I think it's something eventually, if it becomes a problem, we may have to at least advise you all, as far as the unincorporated area, to embrace, just like we would the city of Glenwood and the city council, you know, when they get this. I think they probably should already have this. If not, we'll make sure that the chief and the mayor and the council sees it. So it's just another tool in the toolbox if we feel there's a problem in the county that it needs to be addressed. The public sees this, and if there's a certain element of the public doesn't see people trying to comply, then they say, why are we being asked to comply? Why are we being asked to quarantine in place? Because we've seen randomly some people out here recently that's supposed to be in quarantine, and they've been seen at the Hy-Vee and Council Plus, they've been seen, oh yeah. So there is an element the state has on quarantine that they want to invoke, which we're not at that stage yet, I don't think. But I think it's something as we go through this very hard time, because this is different than a flood or a tornado. This wears on people psychologically, and I think emotionally. And then, if I have it, am I immune afterwards? Which they think maybe there is some immunity. I don't know, but clinically, I think that's something yet to be proved as time goes by. But this is just another item right here. I don't know how it's going to pan out. I don't know if we're violating the county still, but I highly suspected several months ago we were. So that's what it is. They put it out there, but it's not like they're saddling up and coming down themselves from the state.
You know, the first couple of months when this broke out, everybody, they listened to the T because they were all scared. Now everybody's tired and they're just getting a little lax, and that's where the problem's going to be.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we're going to start out.
All around.
I think some of us that haven't been sick, there's a high probability we might get sick because of other people or whatever, or just maybe us becoming a little lax, a little bit too free, or just by chance, the chance of, being near someone and not knowing, and they not knowing, and we just succumb to it, right?
So contagious.
It's just
We're all
like-
gonna get
just
it
like-
sooner or later.
Just like flu, it's just like kids come home from school with flu. Yeah.
So the state is enforced, I mean, this is the things the state has put in place, and then,
The state put them in place, but I believe, and we can check, they're looking for state and local to enforce it. I mean, that's the law enforcement arm that would enforce these codes. I do know the state patrol, if there's cases that the locals have problem with enforcement, I imagine the state could assist. I mean, they have offered before that if you need us to come down, but you don't want to do that. You want to take care of your own, right? You want to clean up, police your own issues where you need to. It'd be no different than Idle Park Public Health coming down and getting in Julie's backyard, and trying to help her administrate and do her job, just like State of Iowa for me. So you really don't want big brother or sister having to come in and manage it. So I think we just need to see, do we have an issue? If we do, we need to address it appropriately. If
And
we
I think
can.
when the stores demand a mask, you're not walking in. I
They
think
have
it
a
kind
right-
of spikes people. Oh,
Well, they have the
they're
right
in.
to refuse
Other-
service. And,
Exactly.
by law, and I think some of the stores collectively, the big chains, all of a sudden started just cascade effect, started jumping on the bandwagon. Of course, here locally, we haven't really seen that. But, you go to the big Targets, the Walmarts, the Costco's, the.
It's what you
Bass
do if you
Pro-
want to walk
It
in the
is.
store.
And the Iowa Department of Public Health is tracking really close where we're seeing upticks. And it is in bars in particular,
It is,
because that's where people are going to gather close together. That physical distancing at a bar
Folks can just
is
drink at home.
something you have to be really mindful of. So I think they're going to come out with additional guidance in places where people congregate and don't physical distance. So I think that's what is spurring this document is we are looking at where we're having upticks in cases, and bars are offenders. So we're trying to get a handle on that. I included a couple of documents that just came out from the Iowa Department of Public Health in conjunction with the Department of Education on the return to learn, the health and safety component as far as public health is concerned. I won't go over it all because it's really well documented in this graphic under what conditions schools can open. We'll be tracking transmission rates. I said overall we have 3.1 positivity rate as far as schools being open. the Iowa Department of Public Health is asking us to track on a 14-day window what our positivity rate is. And they're opening up a new system called Domo, and that will track for us so we can clearly see our positive cases over a 14-day range.
Like now, starting now, or like when school opens? Is that what they're?
The day school opens, we'll start tracking this 14-day positivity rate. They also, the Iowa Department of Public Health has been working really close with the Department of Education on evaluating sick students and staff and what high risk and low risk symptoms are, when they need to be evaluated by their healthcare provider, and then how local public health will identify close contacts in the school system and how we'll track those, how parents and students and staff will be notified, and just what the protocol will be when school reopens. And then the Iowa Department of Public Health and the Department of Ed has a guidance document. It's about 3 pages long on how to safely reopen Iowa schools in the COVID-19 spot that we're in. So those guidance documents, I think, are very helpful not only to local public health but to our school administrators as they try to navigate in this form that we've never been in before. And you know how it's going to pan out. All I can say is we're just going to have to be open to the flexibility of
Moving
things are
target.
going to change, guidance is going to change, we're going to be in an ever-evolving situation, and we're going to have to do a lot of decision making on the fly with good guidance from the Iowa Department of Public Health.
So are they having their little munchkins sit with masks on?
The current recommendation is pre-K through 2nd grade, so northeast, students can wear masks,
But they're
absolutely.
not recommended.
Well, it's a low impact intervention for those grade levels. So the American Academy of Pediatrics, the CDC, all those experts have come together and said for the very low grades, that's a low impact mitigation strategy because of the grade level, because of the way they constantly will be touching the masks, because
Oh,
so the better thing for them to do would be to have the social distancing, the increased hygiene, and we know that at that age level in particular, they're not largely affected by COVID-19, and they're not big carriers. We would want more strategies in place for the teachers and the adults in that building so that they don't transfer the disease. Now, from 3rd to 12th grade, Devin put out a document that said expected. Masks are expected.
and
So
are they sitting in front of a plexiglass type of thing that you hear they're building in other schools, or we're not doing that?
I don't know how much plexiglassing they will be doing. I think there's some decision making that's being done per building. So I think in the lower grades they might be taking more precautions like that. In the upper grades you have more movement of students just by nature of how they learn.
They transition.
I saw last night on TV that Iowa State's making all their students that are staying on campus take a COVID test before they
Yeah.
enter the college.
It's a
Right
baseline.
outside.
They're trying to establish a
You see that?
baseline.
Whatever day they sign in, then that's.
They're also
Yeah.
trending at the collegiate level of being done at Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And that's almost across the board,
Yeah.
in and out of state. You'll go until Thanksgiving and then have that break until
January.
in January.
One other thing that happened last Thursday, when the governor, at one of her press conferences, she did come out with an interesting directive, is that the state was going to send surveys out to all the school districts in Iowa, asking them for PPE, personal protective equipment, supplies for schools, hand sanitizer, face masks, things of that nature. That really surprised me that was communicated, because now they were on a fast track to get a shopping list of sorts out to all the districts for the districts review, and basically similar to what we did is sign up for a 30-day supply or whatever you're going to need to open the school and sustain it for X months. I haven't seen a copy of that survey. I'm going to ask today for a copy to see how much and what are the items they're offering. I think the big challenge the state is, I think it caught one of the departments, Homeland Security, off guard a little bit when she said that, because they were trying to wean us off of them, last month in June, 30 June, into July, except for by exception requests of unique situations for assistance, state assistance on material things. And so this is very interesting. So we're waiting to see the depth and width of what they're offering and how fast they can get it. Because right now, supply demand is still an issue out there to some degree. Cost is still an issue out there to some degree. And undoubtedly, the state's going to have to go back to their subcommittee, which is made up of congressmen and state representatives, to sit down and go into the emergency fund undoubtedly and grab some more money to acquisition this. The state has been trying to replace their cache of equipment and supplies over the last several months, just trying to keep up with it. But again, sourcing that sometimes becomes a problem. So I think this can be interesting to see what's offered and how much is offered. And I'm assuming our two school districts will hopefully definitely take advantage of it. Because number one, it allows them to get it easier, more efficiently, because of bartering at the state level with contractors, and it's going to save them some cost probably because the state's going to supply it. The state will do the claim with FEMA for recouping their costs.
Will they use it from their CARES money?
That's what I was thinking.
That's what I'm worried about. Is that they have not announced that. It was never announced by the governor. I've heard nothing from. I did get this
Well,
email
isn't that
Thursday.
what it's primarily for?
Well, it said, all it said in here from Homeland Security Emergency Management is that many of you seen in governor's press conference, et cetera. Department of Education has sent a survey to all superintendents statewide to gather their needs. And then it says Homeland Security is going to work with Department of Education closely, support those needs to resume classroom operations in the fall. And it says they're currently formulating a plan to distribute supplies to the districts. So nothing mentioned about whether they're going to tap that. That
So
money.
we received,
Hmm?
have we received any CARES Act money yet?
No, it's gonna be.
She's only up, I
we're
think
not
the
gonna get that
governor
much.
earmarked, what, 45 million for mental health, what she did so far out of that pot
Yeah,
of money.
Richard was telling me
Well,
about
mental-
mental health the
that's
other day.
mental health,
that's-
Yeah,
That's totally different than
I know,
anything else.
but that's out of the CARES pot though.
But
yeah.
the amount of money that we will receive from this 125 million, 25 million of it's gonna stay in the state's hands for FEMA. The other 100 million comes out to the counties. Per capita, the county gets $12.68. The cities get $23.77. Our share or our total dollars will be between $180,000 and $200,000
For the whole county.
for the whole county.
Nothing.
No, please. I mean, you hate to be ungrateful,
And all
but
your
that's not gonna-
overtime and anything you have spent in equipment will have to be turned into Larry, so Larry can, because it all has to go through FEMA. She has a press conference today at 11 o'clock.
Mhm.
She's gonna put
That's
all
out of this pot of money.
Right.
Because,
The 125
because the-
billion we
yeah.
haven't touched yet.
yeah, because the COVID-19 claim is going to run similar to what we have for the flood, except is that the state's going to manage it all because FEMA's letting them do it. In other words, instead of you having to step through the state and FEMA and then keep going back and forth like we've done in natural disasters, this particular
And doing
event,
nothing?
since it's statewide effect, FEMA's decided to work with the state saying, we are overwhelmed, so state Iowa, for example, you can manage it directly, these funds, and we just need a paper trail. And so, so that's going to be a little more efficient, I think, once they get it rolled out, but it'll be interesting to see how this all plays. So the rules will be similar as far as like overtime and time. Like I'm not eligible, you're not eligible, you're salary exempt employee, but it would be other employees that you might use in support of this. You can document their time, just like we have before.
I was gonna say, listening to that, I walked in a couple minutes when Richard had it on, and one county was going on about that they had 32,000 that they had spent on the, when you call the people,
Contact tracing.
contact tracing, and we're sitting there, what the world? Apparently, they must have hired a bunch
Mhm.
of people to.
Pot
make
County
those
did
phone-
that.
He hired
He wasn't from Cotton County, I'm not sure where.
No, but they hired EPIs and
And to make those calls, and so they're wanting to be, being
Sure.
reimbursed for that, obviously.
I think you can claim that.
Yeah, you
I
can.
think you can.
Yeah. Anything that you have done, well, I won't call them patient, per person that you have done searching and stuff, the time you've spent there can be paid for through this. All you have to do is bill it.
Most,
Any kind of equipment, like for instance, a computer we got for in here or things like that can be
Road grader.
paid for, upgraded.
Road graders,
I'm trying.
they didn't go far. No.
COVID mitigation.
Oh, interesting.
And
So I'm
there's a
sitting
little-
here
there's a
thinking,
little
is it good that the
discrepancy.
state
The
is handling
governor,
this, or is it not?
We'll find
But
out.
then we find out FEMA handles it, that's not good either.
Yeah, you better take a minute.
So maybe we'll get a little bit faster
Uh,
action.
new brochure, you got it, for public health. We very optimistically had to put an address on there. If that, we can put a sticker over it and use our current address until such time that it's needed. Just thought I would share, it's kind of a one-page document, a lot of services that come through public health.
Good job.
That's what we have for you today.
thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy your day.
You too. Plug away, kiddo.
Yep, thanks, happy birthday.
Thank you, thank you.
This does not sound good. Doesn't mean it's good either.
I got an update here on some stuff on it if you want.
No, go ahead.
Basically with the legislative webinar I attended, they're still looking at mental health funding, backfilling of all the money for the counties and stuff. We're gonna push for that. And,
Backfilling what? For the children's? Or,
no, the backfills that we get for the county, you know, they let the commercial people.
oh, okay, on that side, okay.
Yeah,
Yep,
they
yep,
want,
yep,
they
yep,
wanna
yep,
make sure
yep.
that this governor
Yep.
sticks with that. Of course, then they got talking about the 125 million. I'll come to that later. Then I attended one on ICAP on planning and zoning. And basically what it amounted to was Blackhawk, over around Iowa City and stuff, Johnson County, I'll get straight.
Oh,
They pushed a lot of things through that they didn't like and they wanted changed, and they have enough power to get it done. It really doesn't hurt us a whole lot. Their biggest problem was evidently they have a lot of hobby farms over there or something, or like you do with the kids coming out. Over there, you have to get a permit and you have to be inspected and all this before you could do that. Well, the county people didn't like it, so they got together and they did away
Kicked it
with
out.
that part of it. And they have talked about trying to get something as far as classification of a farm.
Good luck on that.
Well,
Yeah, pack a
They-
lunch.
yeah, that's right. But anyway, they're thinking they're gonna push through anything over 10 acres. That will be coming up in this year's legislation, so.
what is it gonna be?
They say anything over 10 acres could be exempt.
Okay, is it 10 acres net or 10 acres gross?
They didn't get that far.
There you go.
And then another thing that, in the other bill that the comprehensive, amendments and stuff, they've changed on how that has to be done. And then the members can serve on both the Board of Adjustment and the P and Z Board. But they all have to come, the P and Z Board especially has to come from, all of them have to come from the unincorporated areas. Nobody from the city, you know, like we've got, what, on the P and Z Board,
Zubor has some city.
has some city people, right? Which I think is fine, but
Why do
They-
they want to exclude them?
they feel that it's ag
Because
exempt.
it fits them.
It's ag only. So, and then some of the things that, we had the webinar yesterday on the CARES Act with Isaac. Like I say, they're gonna keep 25 million of it's gonna stay with the FEMA because it's what they call a 75-25 split. 75% is by the federal government, 25% is by FEMA, which is federal. Don't make sense to me, but that's the way they're gonna do it.
Okay.
And it's all gotta be applied through a portal. You're gonna follow state and federal guidelines for everything. From what I can understand, the payroll cost for like public health, they can collect to up to 25% of what the payroll would be over. They're paying for overtime and things like that. Same way with 25% for public service. All the counties will pass a resolution, and that resolution's coming out of ISAC. So everybody has the same one. Not everybody has to write one. And they wanted everything turned in from 3/1 to 8/30 at the end of this month. And everybody's going, that's impossible. Okay, so that probably won't happen. And then we're still waiting to see what the new, they call it, I pronounce it the HEAL, H-E-A-L, all in capital letters, act that Congress is working on now to see what they're gonna fund out of it for things.
Is this a federal fund?
This is the new one that they haven't even passed yet.
Heal, all right.
And that's,
We have CARES and HEAL.
and like I say, they got it set up that 60% goes to cities, 40% goes to counties. Well, like most of them said, how many cities have a public health department?
Right.
Once in a while, there's a city that has a hospital, but, you know, giving the city $23 per capita and the county gets 12 is just a little bit, yeah.
We've got the county
And then there's a
public health
stipulation, I don't know, the governor didn't know it, but 25% of this money was supposed to go to the counties and not 10. So they're arguing back and forth. They asked the governor, what are you going to do about this 15% that we're short? That's about, I mean, it's just gonna be,
Interesting,
oh yeah.
very interesting.
So, I don't know, if anybody got any questions, I could try and answer them, but they are going to take out the $125 billion that we got, that we haven't touched yet. 85 million of it will be used to expand and access broadband and any upgrades that you want to make for your IT people. Patrick said, how about building on? I said, I'll write that down here.
He definitely needs it.
So, and then they're gonna take 490 million of that billions, and they're going to replenish the unemployment fund.
I knew it was gonna come out of somewhere.
You know, that's a lot of money,
That's a lot of money.
and they don't have any idea what a county is going to get dollar-wise or how they're gonna do it, splitting this up. But we'll take all we can on broadband. We're not looking at
Absolutely.
it.
Ken's gonna come in and brief us on that too.
Yes,
Some of the stuff that they've been looking at, we were gonna look at applying jointly, but they said the state's frowning upon that, saying it pulls no weight.
That it does what?
It doesn't pull any weight. They frown upon it, so they said, we're just gonna go with Western Iowa Networks, and that's why I did the letter of support. And contacted a few cities to have
Yep.
them write some letters, and
Yep.
Ken will brief us on that though.
Okay.
You're up.
Yours.
You wanna start with yours?
Sure. Okay, so I'll update you on zoning. Planning and Zoning Commission met last August 4th. Meeting, or the next meeting, excuse me, will be August 4th at 6 p.m., which is tonight. The meeting is in person, but we've given an option to meet via call-in if needed. Recently, the Planning and Zoning reviewed ordinance such as commercial dog breeding operations, solar energy systems, zoning for our area around the landfill, and soil extraction. The commission ended up setting up a meeting to review and update only the soil extraction this time. The other ordinances are being discussed during the meeting, so basically they've set up just a committee for that. That's not saying that they won't continue to set up other committees as we go along, which is pretty normal. Due to COVID and the meeting restrictions, the commission is a little bit further behind this year on reviewing the ordinances than they would normally be. Zoning Board of Adjustment did not have a meeting in July. We didn't have anything on the agenda, no permits turned in, and at this time we only have one on the agenda for the August meeting, which will be August 18th, but the deadline to turn in extra additional applications is actually August 6th. I don't know if a few of them that we've met with will actually end up getting them done at that time. But if they don't, they've assured us that they would like to be on the agenda for September. The department has been extremely busy, and we've had several permits turned in, both zoning and building. That's a little synopsis of zoning side of it. Any questions?
On the building side, we're gonna do this once a month, first every month, report on July, the past month. This is the permits issued this month, in July. And you can the highlighted ones are just pending ones waiting for them to come and pick up, or there's some documents on the plans that still need to be corrected. But you can kind of see that's a month. This is a typical month of what we do, issue the permits and processing them. This other handout this is kind of the telltale for building departments on growth. Other things is how many single family homes are built in a year and kind of to every year. Interesting that, I don't know if we kind of figured there was probably 3 people that were affected by flood that built homes. The majority, all the rest of them are new homes being built, either people moving in or people living here and upgrading to a new home. But to date, new homes, we have 19. Last year we had a total of 25. This is only till July. So, and then I have the commercial ones that we've issued this year. So I'll update this every month when I bring it to you. And it gives you just the residential, it kind of gives you a count. So this is one of our highest months we've had in about 4 to 5 years of single family homes, new homes being built. It's only July. We average between 15 and 25, but however, we already have 19 coming, and I have 2 new ones on my desk now for the next month, and it's surprisingly how many new homes we've been doing. I was really shocked when I knew reviewing them and coming in, there was a lot, but then I didn't realize there was 19.
Well, I think you'll be making a lot of trips down my neck of the woods, the way it looks.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So this is I want to kind of give you an update and synopsis of where we're at. I mean, if we go 19 and we still see it going through, we could be doubling that by the end of the year, which is great. We haven't seen those numbers in quite a while.
That is amazing.
So just to show that there is some growth going on and people building new homes. The 3, there was maybe 1 to 2 that we'll have. Last year there was 5 new homes that were flood victims that relocated. And this year I think we've had 2.
So right here shows how broadband's got to come through.
Yeah. It's really grown. Really surprising how fast Lake Ohana filling in. That's where the majority of the homes are going. Plus a lot are going in other places. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with some of these new proposed subdivisions in Glenwood and then some others that are out in the county when those come through and how those all work. So you can kind of see, and then the back page is just the commercial, just to give you an idea of what commercial buildings we're doing. We kind of specified a little bit of what they were. 4 of those are the conveyor, because they're all on different properties. We haven't seen a lot. The warehouse on Bungie is the bigger one that we issued the first of the year. The one for Echo was issued the end of last year. It's not
What's
on
the
there.
conveyor? What does that mean?
That's the dirt conveyor. The soil,
Oh,
the Ames
dirt
is doing it.
Got it.
So there's 4 different properties, so we had to break them all up of what they had. So, but it's kind of surprising where we're at this year already, how much we've been doing. So that's good on our part. You guys have any questions? Again, we'll be doing this every first of the month, kind of give you an update, and then anything new with planning and zoning updates. Two, you sit on our boards. You kind of fill in, but we'll kind of give a synopsis of every month of what we did that month and what's coming up the following month. We'll keep it simple and quick, unless you guys want more.
No.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Corey.
Hello.
Morning, guys.
Morning.
How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Drove by yesterday and things are hopping over there.
They're moving all right.
They sure are.
Just make it a little better
How
in
much
there.
more the conveyors to be built?
Lineal foot wise, not a lot. We just got to do a lot of hooking up electrical, belting,
Oh,
stuff like that. I'm gonna fire it up next week, just to test. But yeah,
very cool.
all right.
Well, guys, we brought in Ames Construction representatives for discussion about our agreement with them for the conveyor belt system, soil extraction. Guys, I'll kind of let you take it away.
Sure. So I'm Andy Sheriff. This is Adam Lightshoe. We're here today representing the General Counsel of Ames Construction from Burnsville, Minnesota. We last met middle of July at a meeting just like this to go through the first draft of the agreement between Mills County and Ames Construction. After reviewing a revised draft, I think Ames Construction is pretty happy with the language that we had to change around a little bit. All the language in there seems to be a little better than it was the first time. The one thing we do want to talk about today is the soil extraction surcharge and the difference in operations between trucking this material and conveying this material and how the surcharge plays into that. So I guess, like in our agreement, we're tied to the Mills County Ordinance Section 2773, which states a calculation of said surcharge is based upon proposed expenditures necessary to repair/replace infrastructure affected by extraction and/or route of travel to and from extraction site and destination site and/or any other travel area affected by activities that are a derivative of an approved soil extraction permit. So with the side dump operation, we'll have about 1,000 loaded trucks going to the site and 1,000 unloaded trucks coming back per day. And we're totally acceptable with 35-cent extraction fee. With the conveyor operation, we won't have a single truck on the road. The only thing that might hit the county roads is 1 or 2 pickups a day. Everything else doesn't ever touch the county roads. So I guess Ames would like to look at this as 2 separate operations. You got your trucking operation, your surcharge for the trucking operation, and I think we need to take another look at the recalculation of the same surcharge for the conveyor operation, just because they're so different and the effects to the infrastructure are on 2 different ends of the spectrum. I guess if we can all agree that that's the thing we need to do here and not just say, we deny your request for a surcharge reduction. I think we will need to take a look at this, and because just like in here in the ordinance section, it talks about the calculations, and I think we need to rerun the numbers or look at what it's really going to cost to have this conveyor versus the side dump operation.
What do you think, guys?
So what are you proposing? You wanna just throw out completely the 35 cents? Well,
You know, they
the
offered
conveyor.
5 cents last time.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we started at, just a ballpark number. One of the reasons I'm here just to talk is because my general counsel, our lawyers and everything up in Burnsville are getting kind of scared about this. They don't like how this is all going, because just how the language is written in here, to them it's kind of apparent that this needs to be on a different I don't necessarily different agreement or different permit, but looked at differently than the side dump operation. Last time we had mentioned the 5 cents. I still think that with with the percentage of um, influence change that we're gonna have on the roads, I think that's acceptable. I mean, we're going from 2,000 trips with side dumps to a handful of trips with pickups, and we're going down to 1/7 of the price, which I would see as acceptable. If we do need to provide more information on where we're coming up with a reduced surcharge amount, say we take all of our math based on our infrastructure influence, based on our side dumps and haul units, and then compare that to our new units that are affecting the road, the couple pickups and whatever, and show how we're coming up with the surcharge reduction, we could certainly do that. Unless is that something you guys would like to see?
What's your input, Corey?
I like the idea of having the conveyor belt because it does keep trucks off the road. I think the ordinance also states that anytime you remove or relocate material, it's subject to the surcharge, whether it doesn't state how it's done. I think there's a place where we can meet in the middle. Where that is not up to me. But I do like having the conveyor belt, keeping trucks off the road, because it is going to save our infrastructure.
Safety too.
Right.
And safety, yep.
Even though that's not set up for safety, but.
So since this is so new to the county, you realize we've never ever, I mean, I'm excited to see this conveyor belt run and such. So let's say it breaks down and you've got to haul in a big crane or whatever. Is that to fix it? I mean, what big equipment if something breaks down?
There won't, unless something absolutely tragic happens and we have to remove a bridge section, there'll be no need for a crane. If something breaks down on the bridge, we could work on it from the ditch with the man lift. Or if something breaks down, in the field, then we'll just bring whatever equipment out there to the field. We won't ever touch, the only time we'll ever have to touch the roads if something really bad happens to the overhead sections, which I don't even know what could happen to, or we'd have to bring a crane. Yeah, someone would have to run into it with the combine or something.
Oh.
The only other time that we'll bring a crane on the road is when we go to remove it at the very end of the project. Everything else we'll be able to do. If we have to maintenance anything that we can't, because they're accessible from the ground, you can walk up on them, tie off, and they'll be working on them in the air. And then if there's something that's not accessible from standing on top of it, we have man lifts that can boom out and reach over the road, so there won't ever be we won't ever touch the
So that won't
road.
even touch the roads or whatever?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so they'll put the sand in the hopper in the pit, and the next time it touches the ground is on site. And I guess I'm not real familiar with, so in here it mentions a calculation of the surcharge. So when you guys issue these grading permits, are there different dollars and cents associated with like a per cubic yard surcharge price? Or is
No,
it
it is
35
all
across the board?
35 cents across the
Okay.
board.
There's a couple things I have, if we say we would drop you a nickel to dime or something like that, what does that do to our local people here that's had to pay this surcharge, constantly ever since it's been in effect? And then another one I'm going to check into is your dumping fee in Pot County, because you go from Mills County to Pot County and they work their fees. They have a loadout fee and they have a dump fee. Because if it leaves the county, they get paid so much for loading it. It leaves the county, they don't worry about dumping, but, and as far as what we spend the money on that we get from this, it can vary from buying equipment to putting towards a building, putting up
Secondary
roads, bridges, whatever,
Infrastructure.
So I'm really struggling with having a reduction of anything. I know that you're conveying that you may not be touching the roads, but it's still an extraction fee. And that's what we was sued over several years ago and lost. And this was the things that we came up with to satisfy the people, you know, so they wouldn't pursue it anymore. So, you know, I have a little problem with giving a reduction in things.
And
So-
I just wanna make it clear, we're not in here trying to nickel and dime you guys. We just,
No,
Just
you have
ba-
an argument.
just based on the language that's in our agreement, we're gonna sign this and we have to be satisfied with the language. And it's unclear based on the language in here when it talks about the expenditures to repair or replace infrastructure affected by extraction. If that's where the surcharge comes from, then that's why, if we're not gonna be affecting the infrastructure along our route, if it's just gonna be, you know, farmers' fields, then that, we just wanna make sure that we're following the language and that, you know, it's an agreeable amount. Like I said, I have no problem with when we're on the road with trucks.
Right.
It's apparent that there will need to be repairs to the roads when we're hauling with trucks.
Yeah, they just beat them up. I mean,
Right.
Nobody can argue. Nobody will say that doesn't happen. You
Right.
know, it's just, it's heavy and it beats it up.
So once the belt starts, absolutely no trucks will be,
That's not the case.
No, they'll still be trucking, and he's offering to pay the full fee for the trucking.
Yep.
It'll just be the dirt that's conveyed, and they can separate that
And
with
then you
their
can
with
separate.
their
Yep.
paid quantities. Oh yeah.
Yep, so it'll be real easy to do that so we take a monthly survey with professional land surveyors of the borrow pit. And then, so they'll survey, they'll give us a total quantity, and then on our conveyor belt, we have scales. So we'll be able to show how much of that quantity went through that scale that month, and we'll be able to separate them out. Actually, in the agreement, in the Article 10, reporting and inspection, it states total quantity of soil extraction by method of transportation up to date of the report, so that would be something we're providing.
Monthly report
Monthly,
to us or something.
yep.
That was my only concern, was in a catastrophic failure of the conveyor and your breakdown over a long period of time, for whatever reason, tornado rips through. You don't know. The soil extraction, because I assume you guys aren't just gonna stop until
No.
that's repaired.
You'll keep trucking.
Yeah,
You're
if the trucks hit the
and
road
that-
again,
and
we're
that's-
right back to our initial agreement, which we figured out the grading permit was, 35 cents per yard for all the cubic yards trucked.
And we could word that in the.
Right.
Our standpoint, that's, Tyler and I had a discussion about that. So.
Yeah, we're not trying to reduce the surcharge for the trucking at all. We're more concerned about seeing if we can recalculate something with the conveyor, since it doesn't affect the existing roadways at all.
Okay.
So I guess, moving forward, do you want Ames to put together a proposal of some sorts of how we're coming up or with our numbers, or how do you want to
I don't know that You
proceed?
have to spend your time on it. I think we can. I don't care. What do you guys think?
I've kind of said what I said, I mean, it's an extraction fee. What it's spent for or anything is up to this board or the department that is handling.
Well, in the agreement, it says it's supposed to be repair, replace infrastructure
Yeah,
affected by.
it goes to secondary roads and for
Yeah,
infrastructure.
it does for
Yeah.
the secondary
So-
roads.
So we made the soil extraction, or we did the soil extraction permit application, and then this surcharge is tied to the soil extraction permit application. And then that ties into this language, what the calculation of said surcharge is for. That's how we got to this point, was,
Well, we only have this for discussion, so I guess none of us can really make a motion here, but, I'm open to it. Some kind of reduction. I don't like a nickel.
right?
I don't. But,
Well, I'll put in this much, I would like to see, we may not use it, but I would like to see something from Ames Construction, write us up something. Because we can't make a decision today on it anyway,
Right.
so, send it to the county attorney's office so they can go over it?
If you send it to me, I can forward it on.
Yeah, you can send it to
Or
Corey.
Corey or whatever.
Kind of your contact.
Somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, we'll put together a proposal with a letter and
Because we're planning on extracting how much exactly?
About 5 million.
Is it 5 million? 8.5 million?
no, it'll be around 5 million.
Around
5 million yards.
5 million yards.
Right, 5
Which is
million
about 8
yards.
million tons.
Total.
Total.
Total. Trucking and conveyor.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So even if we deduction a couple cents, that would still be huge for the county, be huge for the company too.
It's,
Well, we
it's
just
a
need
large
to
sum.
work it out.
I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
5 million times 10 cents.
Yeah.
You're looking at 500,000. Don't need a calculator for that one.
So, yeah, we'll go back, we'll put together a simple proposal with a letter kind of stating the things we talked about. And then we'll also put together some numbers, I guess, is, here's our influence with the trucks. This is the type of equipment and the type of traffic we're gonna have with the trucks. And here's our influence with the conveyor and the type of equipment and the type of traffic we'll have on the infrastructure. And that way everyone will be able to look at it. And then, we can even put together a proposed reduction based on, what we know. And
How much are you gonna truck, or do you have a set number about a rough quantity of what you're gonna truck? I mean,
it'll be somewhere between 1 million and 1.5 million yards
Okay,
that we have to
that's
truck.
close, that's close enough.
That we have to truck no matter what. It can't go on the conveyor.
It has to be trucked.
Yep.
Okay.
Only thing we can really convey is our granular sand material. All the clay-like material and the topsoil will have to be hauled in and placed with the side dumps.
Makes sense. Yeah, get us something, we'll work something out.
Okay. Yep. So we'll go back. We'll do our homework. I appreciate you guys taking the time. I guess, is there anything else for us?
Well, you guys are here. Still need a representative. Just so we can put it in the agreement, whether that's your VP, president.
You can just put my name.
Okay.
Andy Scherf.
You have a card.
Can I just leave out my last one?
Sorry, I don't think I have one on me.
I don't.
Okay.
My phone number is 612
612
720
720
5123.
5123. Okay.
So yeah, if you guys, Corey's got my number. If you guys need to call me or reach out, he's got my email. You got my email too, right?
Yep.
So,
Well,
all right.
All right, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I can see wheels are spinning.
They have.
I need to ask Kevin about that formula that he came up with when you guys
He
implemented.
spent a lot of time on it, he worked with the state, I know that. But who else and how? I don't know. Cause that's, if and when it goes to court, that's what they're gonna beat on.
Mhm.
And they can throw all that out. We needed something, and
There is a whole lot of case law regarding soil extraction. That research was done 2015, I want to say,
Yeah.
between our office and Kevin. I remember going through a lot of that when we first started doing this.
A lot of that had to do with the T. Schaefer property.
A lot of it was T-Schaefer. There's a lot of cases out of Madison County that ended up in front of the Court of Appeals and Supreme Court. And justification for it.
it could get long and drawn out and ugly, and
Yeah.
we could get nothing.
And it got
Which
really, really
worries
costly
me.
for the county.
Right. And they do have they are not gonna be on our roads. I
They have an
understand
argument
that,
for part of it,
for part of it.
and they're not arguing the 35, but we can discuss that here in a
Yeah.
little bit.
Moving forward, we got utility permit report. One utility permit for CenturyLink. They are putting fiber in a couple locations in the county. We've let them combine permits in the past, so we have three different locations. So they're putting fiber boring it, on 315th and Mar Avenue, just, at the new, Malvern subdivision at the golf course. Then, along L63, north of Highway 34, so north of Malvern on L63, and then, heading into Hastings from Highway 34. Couple locations and it's, majority of it is board. Next I have formal action, approval of pay voucher 30 to United Contractors for project RFM Pier 94, 190th Street Railroad Overpass. The amount is $254,798.96. Big items that they've completed is a modified sub base for our paving, which is set to begin this week. Hopefully tomorrow, might be Thursday, depends how much material they got trucked in. They have a portable plant, which the material is coming from Martin Marietta and Springfield. Portable plant there at the racetrack, and calibration this afternoon. If that goes well, and they have other material, we'll be pouring tomorrow morning.
So when I went past her, because I was wanting to see the big hoopla for the weekend, by the way, it was impressive. I could not believe how many people were there.
Where'd you set at? Where'd you get in the line at? Off 34?
Or do you just drive?
No, I
You go
just drove through. Yeah, I didn't sit inside.
No, did you drive through on the interstate or did you drive
No,
on the road?
yeah,
Wow.
I went on
You
the
went in
road.
all that traffic? Bumper to bumper?
Yeah,
Wow.
Bumper to bumper for an hour and a half?
because I wanted to check it out. No, I was there Sunday.
Oh, Sunday, you weren't
Well,
there
you didn't see
Saturday.
nothing.
Unbelievable.
You should have been on 34 Saturday at noon.
Backed up.
Where Joel and I, when the last stop we made before we made the stoplight go to the racetrack, we didn't turn that way. I got out of the pickup and stood up and I looked back and the cars were going over the bridge
From the west.
from the west. And we had these stupid little broom cars, you know, the ones that, I don't know how many of them went flying by us.
2 weeks.
We had people on motorcycles doing wheelies and
We put up a fence.
Oh,
they would
Fence
get up
down,
to the stoplight
but there's a paving machine.
and then they
So
would
they had
turn
to
all
turn
them
around.
into BP.
They could have gone over the
They
bridge.
would go into BP, make a 360 and come out and set for the stoplight to go south.
oh.
Oh, it was and it
Well,
was
it's-
bumper to bumper car from the racetrack back to 34.
We did do some changes to our timing on that light,
It
but
wasn't long enough.
what was it? Was it being backed up 190th Street
It
too?
was backed up
Oh, yeah,
everywhere.
everywhere.
See, I,
Even down the ramps.
even with our light timing changing, I think what the main choke point was the actual entrance backing up 190th Street.
Yeah, the 190th Street was
It wasn't the
whole-
light.
It wasn't the light, no.
You
It
turned
was
it on or left it on or left it off. It
Well,
wouldn't-
when they're sitting on the off ramp off of 29 to go west,
Oh.
and they can't get off of 29 to go west, that's when it really started.
I couldn't get any chicken out there either, so it was frustrating.
Did you order it?
I bet Mark Lincoln did very well.
Did
I
well.
would think so.
The car washes in town here, they said it was unreal, the amount of cars that came clear in here to wash before they went to the show.
If you want to have a
I think I'm right.
Oh my goodness, look at there. Look at you.
hostess of the mostest.
No kidding.
Nice, looks great.
Should we pay
So
I'll
him?
make a
modified
motion
subbase,
to,
yeah.
pay him his $250,000.
The approaches,
Gee.
when we drove down and looked at it, snooping around, wasn't during the car show, it was before or after it, but it looked like the approaches were ready to, they did string line up, so they're.
Yeah, we're
ready to
looking
move.
at,
I didn't go on the south side, but it was on the north
we're
side.
looking at Wednesday, tomorrow, starting paving possibly. But
With the
probably be
weather.
more like probably be Thursday, my guess.
Before that one day,
No, it'll take about 4. 3, 4. They said 240
Who's paving it?
Cedar Valley.
Cedar Valley. Good.
Good job. They did good work.
Yeah, they do.
We have a couple good paving contractors in the county that right now, good reputation, good work. Them 10 Point Construction doing patching right now, and then Western Engineering, good paving operation, doing the overseal later the month. But
I've had good reports on the people on Silver City Road.
Oh, they're
The
so
construction-
excited.
Construction people are very
that's
cordial and stuff to the people.
That's
I mean,
10 Point
they
there.
really try and help them get through and.
the only thing. I think I'm the. How do I put this right? Sorry. The majority of the stuff that 10 Point Construction does is just patching. So if they're in here patching, that's all they do, and they do a good job at it.
We've got a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Right.
Alright,
Just below my signature.
I'll be glad when that one's over with.
That has been.
Silver City or 100? Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you heard any more from FEMA?
I have not.
Okay, I will make a phone call to them.
Well, it is in their CRC hands. It's the ones that obligate the projects. Like last week, I had a conversation with my representative and her supervisor every day of the week, making sure how they submit the project to the CRC. They've tried to answer any questions they expect them to have and answer questions that they've already received back from them. I guess now it's kind of wait and see what the CRC does with obligation.
Copy of what they,
Mm-hmm. And so I've provided them everything necessary, more than necessary, what I think, multiple times. And I try not to sound too frustrated when I say, yes, we've already submitted that. It's in the project file.
Many times.
So we're waiting to hear back from that. We submitted our appeal for their determination memo for the Yankee Bridge damage. Got a receipt back from Iowa Homeland saying that they received it and moved it forward to FEMA. So I think they're allowed 90 days to respond back to that, or 60, 90 or 60. So we might not be hearing back from that for a while. Updates on FEMA stuff. Also waiting to hear back from Iowa Homeland on our reimbursement for the flood recovery fund for the seal coat work. Larry told me last week that he verified that it got passed forward to Iowa Homeland and it's in Terry Brown's hand. So
Well, we're a lot further ahead than we were, that's all I can say. But it shouldn't take this to get it done. You know.
No, I mean, we have bills that we gotta move forward.
yeah,
No brainer on that one.
we're keeping. I'm waiting for my monthly balance report from Kim. She should have that today or tomorrow. So keep an eye on that.
Okay, I'll wait a week.
or 5.
Yeah. Or 90 days.
Right.
Our FM Rock project's still ongoing. They've completed the routes on the northwest part of the county.
Yep.
Yeah, we're moving along. We're over on the northeast part of the county now, on south of Henderson, and then we'll be moving down to Kidd Road and 215th and Paddock Avenue later on this week.
Is this what I'm looking at here?
No, 220th is a silk. Oh no, that is not a silk road.
Isn't that your little red splotch that goes from seal coat to seal coat?
So,
That'd be this one here. Is that right?
which one? That one needs to change because that's Kidd Road that we paved. So this is
Oh no, sorry. Looking here, it was upside down.
Yeah.
That one get rocked?
No, not this year. Needs it.
I got a call from a citizen. Says we haven't done anything to it for 3 years.
I'll mark it down. This is, so, I mean, this was the project we let last year, so I mean,
The blue
We-
is
which-
supposed to be rocked up.
yes, the blue is the stuff that's getting rocked this year from last year's project. So we are kind of a year behind. We try to get every one of these FM roads rocked every 2 to 3 years. Some of them, like before Kid Road was paved, that was rocked every year. That's what Kevin
3,
told
4
me.
times a
So,
year. Yes,
um,
we trucked rock on that
no.
It just
every
never
time we
stayed.
could.
Every time you turn around, the rock truck was going down it.
Yeah.
Just couldn't stay. That
Um,
alone saved a lot.
So as I mentioned previously, we were able to time this with Schilberg to try and get it done before the second application dust control. Husker Chem, I saw their trucks in this morning. They're putting on the second application. We did contact them last week or 2 weeks ago saying, hey, this is what we're doing. If you guys could be here first week of August, we really appreciate it. And so they're here today, and they're starting with the roads that we just rocked. So those people that lost their dust control only lost it for
Just
a
right
week or
now.
two. So,
Yep.
so that did time out well.
Good.
A lot of times it doesn't work out so smooth. So, I think I mentioned we got patching going on Silver City Highway. They'll be patching for another 2 days, 3 days maybe. We have about 1,500 yards of patching that we're doing before we're doing the overlay. Western.
Just about have it paved. It's not quite close.
No, we're got the big patch, or half of the big patch done yesterday. They're just south of Gaston Avenue there in the valley. We over excavated some of it, put in 6 inches of modified subbase beneath it. We got longitudinal sub drains on it. So we're trying to mitigate the issues that we've had in the past with
That has
water
always
collecting
been
down there.
bad.
So hopefully we address that, and Western should be in at the end of the month to do the overlay. Should be a pretty quick project. The widening will be the longest part of it. Putting extra pavement on each end, each lane to get it up to 11-foot lanes. And otherwise, that's really about all I had for general discussion. Oh, Lonnie, I might talk with you later about some drainage issues, but I think you previously surveyed it. But we can talk maybe on our road trip at the end of our meeting. Go check out a driveway variance application from our queues. I've given Mark a heads up that would be coming out there, and it's a little different driveway. It's a shared driveway for 2 properties. And I can't tell if it's supposed to be for a third property or if it's just, that's when they built the driveway. It's now a little bit onto third.
In Tackettville.
Yeah, and so he wants to extend it, and it'd be a shared driveway for 3 properties over our 45-foot limit for driveway widths.
Oh, that, yeah.
And
You guys know where it is.
It's right there on 250th Street, just north of Noise. Mark is getting, and we can talk about it when we're out there, but Mark is getting, he said he's gonna get an easement from Cheryl Dashner for that driveway, but he still would like to extend the driveway onto his property.
Yeah, the driveway is right here.
Yeah, so it's shared between there and the driveway to the
Yeah.
north. So that's a shared driveway, and
It actually goes like this.
so it's this driveway, and he wants to extend it to here as well. So
Yeah.
it'd be a lot easier to look at it and have Mark tell you guys himself why he wants that variance. So I'll be back then at the end of the board meeting. You want to give me a heads up? I
I will do
appreciate
that.
it.
You want him to stick around for the next one on the agenda?
Yes.
Planning to.
Yes. If we, Pony Creek water, Corey, we're looking, I think if I mentioned, we talked a few times. I don't know if I mentioned
Yeah,
it or not.
briefly.
I know you don't want any water lines in the county roads. Nobody wants it. GMU didn't even want it. But sometimes there's just not enough right of way.
Uh-huh.
We've got a water line that runs down 225th.
This is what we're looking at.
No, I'm sorry, it runs down 220th. It comes up here and feeds the water tower, wherever that is,
Mhm.
somewhere in here, a little farther south. But we are looking at the board is looking at extending water to Pony Creek. And the right of way through here isn't the most appealing.
Yeah. And there's some places that jut out, some places are wider than others.
Some places it's narrow. The clearing and right now, the preliminary engineering estimate is to put it in the ditch, and they would have, yes, and there would be a lot of clearing and grubbing. We are using the FRF funds for this. This board's looking at using the FRF funds for this. If we could put it in the road, it would save it substantially. Then we could run more broadband,
There is also
or maybe seal
a
coat
new,
the road.
they also recently put in utility out there. Was it fiber?
That I could, someone, Western Iowa Networks ran fiber down Deacon, but I didn't think they went there. I thought they were farther north.
It may have been Mid-Am, maybe Mid-American. So, and I was able to get them in the ditch most of the way. Sometimes they trench right off the shoulder.
Yeah.
And Lonnie's brought up to me, we would have to, if we can't go there, we gotta go in the ditch, we'd have to bore under Pony Creek in two places.
We would still have to do that, Richard, because
But
you
can't-
couldn't hang it from the bridge because the water will freeze.
Well, no, and there isn't enough depth. Oh,
No.
I didn't know there was bridges, I thought there was culverts.
No, well, they could be culverts. I call them bridges, but regardless, they would have to be, it's a minimum 5-foot barrier with water no matter where you're
Yeah.
at, because
Oh,
it'll
yeah.
freeze.
I mean, it could go in the street. It could go on the road.
I
It's just,
guess that's my question to you. Are you open to it, or is it an
Yeah.
option? Okay.
we'd probably want to add a, what is that usually 42-inch minimum cover, I think. I mean, might want to
Yeah, I just tell people 5.
add another 6 inches or so, just because being a gravel road, our depths
we can
always
make it 5
change
feet.
a little bit.
Yeah.
How big a
Just
line
know
is
that
gonna
the
run
main-
off? 6 inch?
it's maintenance
6 or
fees
8.
that you're looking at that are going to increase.
Is it a 6 or 8-inch line they got on there for you?
6.
6. Yeah, I thought it was 6.
It's going to be
Need that
maintenance
fire
costs
protection.
and road closures if there are
Yes.
maintenance problems.
Yep.
And
Yep.
if for some reason that road ever gets paved, then you're gonna have to be
Water
doing
line underneath
patching.
it.
No, you,
So I told Lonnie, let's go the other way. Let's go from Vinton's campground, which water's right there. And
Oh.
people would love to tap into it.
It's gonna run like, it run down 34 and then up?
Yeah.
No, we'd be, we've got water.
Or just go on down 190th. Just,
And how do we get over to,
Yeah, you'd have to go down 195th and you'd have
because you
to,
have more people tapping into it than the other way.
oh, without a doubt you would, Carol, but this is 8,500 feet roughly.
Okay,
If we ran from the campground,
and then go over.
we'd be better off to bore underneath the interstate from the,
yeah,
uh,
I mean, Carol,
Rest
you're
area.
looking,
Oh, from the rest area.
yeah, you're looking at taking 8,500 feet versus, we would
4,500.
do no fiber.
Oh.
Fiber would be 0. I mean, you're looking at millions of dollars
Oh.
versus 600 grand.
I just.
The other
So
option
what
that,
would the permits cost us, Lonnie, that we would-
under boring under Keg Creek, or Pony
Pony
Creek,
Creek?
that's fed. That's why Western Iowa Networks had such a hard time getting this fiber line lit
Yeah,
up from,
yeah.
from out here to Emerson, because they had a bore that went under Pony Creek right here. They had it all done but that, and they waited a year to get that permit done.
Oh, costing how much?
Minimal, it's just.
Oh, it is? It's
Yeah,
just the
yeah,
time
yeah,
frame.
yeah, yes, it's not a fee like a surcharge, it's a permit fee, which is minimal, it's just the process.
Got it.
Approval.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah, yeah. Now this,
You ever
this,
heard of the federal government?
yeah, this is the
We're here to
cheapest
help.
and,
Like, yeah, we're here to help.
yeah. Yeah, the
That was a
cheapest
good
and most logical would be
Thanks, Carol.
right there, because we've got water at Lonnie Buzz, so that is without a doubt the cheapest and most feasible. Your only other option that's even viable would be
Come down Glover, wouldn't it?
to be come down Glover. Yeah, yeah, but you'd have to bring that in from.
We'll have to, well, you'd have to go off of Eastman, wouldn't you? Not Eastman,
Yeah, Goody.
Goody, no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Goody.
yeah.
No, it's okay. I mean, installation, we're looking at road closures. I mean,
Without a doubt.
that's
Yeah.
what it's gonna be.
They
Is
would probably keep one lane open for the, because
I'd hope
I
so.
wouldn't think you'd want them down the middle.
Yeah.
They'd be down one shoulder or the other, so.
Yeah, it's just gonna be.
But what would it
Uh,
cost to repair it?
Well, they'd have to repair it.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
they'll
would
have
be,
to.
it's a turnkey thing. Well, we would have to repair it. It would be
Right.
part of our contract to make sure it's,
It's,
After installation, we would have to repair it.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah.
But as installation goes, they backfill it and re-rock anything that they
which would
disturb.
be our cost.
sure,
FRF funds, just not
That's
this.
true.
got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because we're the contractor.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah, it's just gonna be.
Okay, well, if it's an option, then I'll let Jake know and maybe he can sharpen that pencil up a little bit. Because every nickel we can cut off of that, we can run more fiber.
What's the word I'm looking for? Just gonna be burdensome for the people who travel that road for
It will.
a while,
But
and
it-
if there's any maintenance, but
You could, I think they would trench it, so you would think it would go fairly quick. Maybe we can make them backfill it with rock or something.
that will be. We'll keep a close eye on that.
Oh,
just
yeah.
Because we have
Yeah,
issues when people trench utilities, so
it happens,
this
yes.
is the nature of our low soil. So
Okay, thank you, sir.
no problem.
You want a motion on that, or what?
I don't think we need one right now, because we can't really, I mean, we can discuss and keep moving forward. You know,
Okay.
I can, if you wanna,
I just don't wanna get lost on it.
no, it's, if you wanna
No,
direct
'cause-
me or someone to get with Olmsted and Perry and tell them to sharpen their pencil, then I will.
Yep.
Just
Yeah,
to
that's
keep
fine
it
with me.
moving.
All right, you,
It's-
Carol?
It'd be nice to get water out to the Pony Creek Park for
Yep.
the cabins that are going in and the nature center. We've got a $2 million, $3 million nature center and then a few cabins, and if they're on a well that's, they hit bedrock,
Yeah, but
It's
boy, it
not
only
like
takes
that.
one person getting sick,
it's.
and it would just ruin the
It
whole,
would be better water, would have city water, it's,
Yeah.
it's treated.
Oh yeah, I agree.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, Luann. Thanks
Take
for the
another
roll.
one, wrap it up.
All right.
And
Twist
then
my
grab
arm.
some,
Twist my arm.
no, you're not leaving without.
oh, you can take 2 napkins for
You
you,
can
so,
take
yeah.
2 or 3. You can take more.
Well, that'll fit in one pocket, now fill the other one.
We got
Nice.
strawberry.
Strawberry and
Plain.
plain.
All right.
You better have another round.
Jeez.
You're
Do I
growing,
look that
boy.
skinny?
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
growing, boy.
Yeah.
That running that you do is taking in a lot for you.
I haven't been able to make it lately.
Oh, Jesus, give me credit.
Building my fence. It's taking a
Oh,
lot of
you're
my.
building a fence?
Yeah, I got a privacy. Putting in a privacy fence in
Oh.
the backyard for my dog.
Did you get it put on the property line, or did you have someone survey it?
I went back from the property line.
Hopefully those pins weren't moved by your neighbor before you moved them.
All right, we'll see you guys in a little bit.
Okay, I'll let you know.
Thank you. You want me to give Luann a heads up?
Oh. Yeah, you wanna go ahead and do her next, Luann? Lonnie?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Yes, Corey, please.
It's just this thing is one of those that's. Where's this hay?
I'll
I'm still
text
digging.
her. She'll be here in a sec.
Let's see, what do we have here?
Hmm.
Oh, goodness.
Did you make all this morning?
I did not.
I did not.
It's called Panera.
Oh, yeah. It does kind of resemble Panera.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, our region alone, Carol, for our CARES money we got, you know, for the mental health region,
Those cream cheese,
$1.78 million.
Strawberry and regular.
strawberry raisin.
And
Regular.
Suzanne Watson and I are going,
No raisin.
what are we gonna do?
Yeah, well, I suppose you don't like raisins.
What do we spend it on? I'm waiting to see what the regulations are.
Exactly.
I mean,
For what?
the 1.7 we got for mental health.
Hopefully you guys can bank some of it and just,
Well, they can't take it away from us because we're below the $2 million.
oh, they can take
Limit.
it away. If they want it, they'll take it.
Well, I suppose, but I mean, legally, what
I
it
can't.
states, anything under $2 million, they will not audit.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I'll let you know.
So what's that county gonna do that got gifted the $5 million?
Well, they get
Was that Johnson County you were talking about?
poke.
I sent
Oh.
Luann a text, but you might want to just go.
Well,
through it.
it's hard telling what they got.
More.
I mean, this deal where they're just throwing money out to, you know,
To Polk and Johnson.
yeah.
And Woodbury.
Can we rename our county?
Hmm?
Can we rename our county?
What do you want to call
Polk South, Johnson West, I don't care.
it? Sure. You think
Well, they
you'll,
better do something
you're
soon.
gonna have to switch political parties then.
Yeah, we'll have to turn into being badasses, Lonnie.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, it's unbelievable the amount of money
With
that
a
they
shot, Ken.
stack around
You
with.
don't know unless you
over there.
ask.
Okay.
So
Okay, so we can
she'll
move
be
forward.
down when she gets.
Well, you know what? Do we want Jill in then? She's busy. Do you want me to just
Yeah.
tell Jill? Tell Jill
Okay.
to come.
Well, otherwise, Ken's here, we might as well just jump in the
Gotta
broadband.
squeeze Ken too. Get him out of
Yeah,
here.
but he's not doing anything, he's just here.
He's just sitting there.
Kim's has changed.
We never change.
It happens often, Ken.
Get up there, grab,
Oh,
You gotta eat
Just ready to
something.
gotta eat something.
I'm
Okay, thank you.
Napkin, plates. And there's,
So actually, I can,
Jill may pop in and give us an update.
Do you need to wait?
I think Jill's coming, but.
She'll be
but in the
quick.
meantime, grab a plate and grab
Yeah.
some goodies.
got
Don't be looking at them.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk to you unless you eat.
Yeah.
Hey, Ken, would you hand me a napkin, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
This is the time the guys throw each other a bag of check mix.
Okay.
It's like
Pizza.
crack. You start eating it, you can't stop.
Yeah, I ate a whole bag the other day for lunch.
Here, I'll get-
Come on, Jill.
Ken, cinnamon roll on that.
Oh.
Hi, Jill.
Good morning, Jill.
I just got a few things I want to run past you real quick. Part of it is I sent past dues out on the 1st of July, and we've got over $250,000 in taxes just because they knew they had till the end of July to pay it without penalty.
Look mine up.
But that's but that still leaves us about 212,000 out there. 58,000 is from the first half, and 154,000 is from the second half.
How much?
I don't feel that's bad, I really don't.
I don't either. I
For
was
the conditions we have in the western part of the county.
I agree. I am very pleased with this.
Yeah.
Very pleased with
Is this me
this.
unpaid?
Yes, where you have the two yeses. That's first and second half. So you're
You would've got a nice letter. Would you,
March 2020, yes.
154? Jill, did you say 154?
154,000 is still out. That's the second half, and 58,000 is still due from the first half. So we've got about 212,000, almost 213,000. And like I said, we've sent out the past dues, and that brought in roughly about 200. Well, actually, it's a little over 250,000. So and that was just in the month of July. So that, I was very pleased with that.
Good.
I'm good, Richard, I'm good.
You're very good.
Hold
Don't
on,
let
I got-
anybody tell you any
I got
different.
one more piece I might not have paid yet. They just gave it to me, so it may not be due yet. All right, thank you. Sorry.
And also, I've got 3 abandoned properties. I've got the lawyer's letters that 2 of them are in Malvern. It's the Hardman property and the buyer's property, so we're going to have to redo all the tax sales. I mean, give the tax sale investor the money back. One of them, maybe 2 of them are county held. Same thing, no taxes at all be abated. I'll get the resolutions for you. This happened back in February, but I just didn't become aware of it until July. So we're going to have to abate all of those taxes, and I'm not doing it right now because since we don't have taxes done, I can't move a whole bunch of stuff around. And then another one is coming up in Emerson. I had come to the board about a month ago and asked for abatements on farmers' property in Emerson. Well, in the meantime, the tax sale investor from Red Oak went over and looked at the property, and one property has a 3-car garage on it that he thought he could sell. Well, he called me back yesterday. He can sell that. It's already sold. So he talked to the lawyer and said, take that property off and just let the city of Hastings take the one that the customer tried to burn down. Emerson, I'm sorry, Emerson, yes. So we're gonna have several.
Tried to burn down?
He tried to burn it down.
Apparently he wasn't successful.
Yes, because it's still kind of just standing there in rubble, and that investor thought he had that part sold too until there's like $19,000 in special assessments and taxes due on it. So he said, let the city of Emerson take that over. So we've got that one coming up. I also have come across another one of those 2017 tax deals that we ran into with people before, where there's a bill out there, but it's sold and we were splitting things. This is a building on leased land. It is a trailer. So what I'm going to try to do is get a hold of the person that bought it in 2017, see if they'll pay the $349, because nothing else has been added to it because the parcel number changed because they rolled it over with a new parcel. So if they absolutely refuse, because it will never go to tax sale because it's a building on leased land, so it will never go to tax sale. So if they absolutely refuse, I will probably come back and see if you will abate it for me.
Nothing else we can do.
I know.
Try.
Pardon?
Where's that at?
17, oops, no, that's the person. The guy's name was Ronald Sutton, and he sold it to a Colgrove, and Christine did some research on it for me. I think it is in, if I remember right, I think it was in PJ.
Is there anything we could have the legislators do on this, on a piece of property like that?
The building on leased land thing?
Yeah.
We're just,
Before that is leased or sold, they need to, I mean, that's just one of the final things you've got to do for the real estate.
right. And we
How
are.
are you supposed to know this happens?
Well, and we are, the assessor and I have been working very closely with Christine, and before anything is split now or
Good.
given to somebody or turned into a different parcel number, the taxes have to be paid.
Yes.
And we are asking for a year's worth of taxes. And now we're,
I just want to sell my farm. Give them all the money.
I know. God, I'm
But look how long this is laid there,
First one in line is
2017.
treasurer. I never thought of that.
Yep. That happens.
You got a barracuda over here, Richard. I'm sorry.
All right, go
All
get
right.
it, go get
Look
it.
how you
But no,
clean things up.
I just, this leased land deal and
Oh,
Bill, there's something that,
I'd like that to go away along with all the trailers. If we could do that, I'd be one
Okay,
happy
well,
person.
Well,
One
that works
happy-
out
what gets
for
me
you.
is that they just go off and leave them.
Yes.
Yes.
And
walk
everybody
away.
thinks, well, they're gonna move it. Well, it sits there a year, it doesn't move.
And then it
sits there
starts
another
fall-
year and
yep.
it doesn't move, and
And it starts falling apart.
yeah, pretty soon
Mm-hmm.
you've got a trailer that's not worth anything and a piece of ground that's tied up because
Right.
taxes owed on
Well,
it.
we ended up with what? Abating, what was it, 13,000 or 15,000 on that?
But it
That-
I was
was,
thinking of that
yes.
but it was imaginary money on something that was never
Yes.
worth 13 grand to begin with.
Yes, exactly.
So you'll never get it. Next year it's
Right.
14, the year after
Right.
it's 15.
Yeah.
It's,
So, but I will send this gal a letter and see if, just tell her this is exactly what happened, that they tied this together with that other parcel, and this was not paid. Truthfully, she should be paying it, and if she tells me to go fly a kite, then we'll come back
come see us.
and we'll get it abated. And then I just had a lady call this morning. She has a mobile home that was out at Country Estates. She has not lived in that mobile home since 2015 because the wall fell in.
Oh.
It has been on the tax roll continually since then. It's been in tax sale, county held since 2015. They moved to PJ. They were in a rental that was flooded, so now they've had to move again. Her husband has since passed away. So what I am wondering is if we can work on abating these taxes, cancel the tax sale. She'll pay $25 for a duplicate title, then we can get a junking certificate, because she says it is no longer there. The landlord took it down because once one wall fell, then the rest of them started falling.
She says no, that we're gonna keep building imaginary numbers that we think we have
Exactly,
and
that
we
you
don't
think,
have it.
that you think we have, and we don't have that money.
Move forward.
We do not have that money.
Nor will we ever have it.
Exactly.
Ever.
You're not gonna get somebody to pay a tax sale and all of these delinquent taxes on something that is no longer there. I would have even tried to maybe get the tax sale amount from her, but talking to her, that would be a hardship.
Get rid of it.
Yes,
I'd much
yes.
rather do away with all that, get it back on the tax roll itself, you know?
Well, again, this is a mobile home that
Well,
is.
I know, but
yeah,
I mean, get the land
Yes.
back, yeah.
Yeah.
to
And
where
I don't
we
know,
are.
maybe he's got a new trailer on it now. I don't know. He is one of them we're having a lot of trouble with working with. We have asked him, we need a list of the mobile homes that are in that mobile home park. We also need to know if all of these are gone. Again, we've got those imaginary numbers. We've got all these trailers in tax sale that I don't think we will ever see a dime from.
Why would you pay it?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Nobody's gonna buy those at a tax sale unless they're a novice and.
most of them are gone.
Yes,
They're not even-
exactly.
they don't exist anymore. So you couldn't
Exactly.
even sell it or repo it. They're
Exactly.
gone.
So I'll probably come back with a resolution on abating that one next week. And like I said, I will send a letter to that other lady and see how far we can get there. We did have an altercation in my office last week. I'm sure you know about it now. We pushed the panic button 4 times and the panic buttons do not work. And so they're in
They
the
do now.
process, yes, they're in the process of getting everything fixed. We had a young man come in and it was in driver's license and he wanted to test. So Shelley asked for his license. It was a Nebraska one and she said, oh, you need to have all of these documents in order for us to set you up with a test. So he had everything but his birth certificate. So she said, we either need a birth certificate or passport, which we tell everybody that on the phone. And he started throwing things out of his wallet. This has my name on it, this has my name on it, this has my name on it. And Shelley said, I can't take those. So then he started raising his voice and I said, this is required by the state. And his words to me was, you need to get out of my face, bitch. And I said,
Hit the button.
nope, that's when I said to Melinda, hit the button. But it didn't work. So I said, it is my business because this is my office and I am the treasurer. And then he started dropping the F-bomb and I was an effing bitch. And then he kept going on. And I said, you need to pick up your stuff and get out of here right now. And so out the door he goes and he's yelling and that I'm an effing bitch and that this is an effing on and on and on. And these young kids were walking in to take tests with their parent, with their mother. There were about 4 young kids out there and their eyes were all big as saucers. And the mothers were like, wow. And so he said to me, go ahead. When I said to Melinda to push the button, he said, go ahead. He says, please know where I live. And he yelled something like 402 4th Street or something like that. And so he was walking out the door and he called me a F&B one more time. And I said to him, don't ever come back here again, ever.
Good.
Now, I don't know if I can do that or not.
Yeah, you can refuse
Absolutely.
anybody's service.
Head of the department.
Well, and next time in the future, if have someone just dial 911.
Well, that's what, when I talked to Patrick and then they tested our button that we're supposed to push when we have an emergency. And you no longer have yours, I have it. So you guys are SOL. You're gonna have to use 911. You have to call
I don't know
somebody.
where we're gonna walk our button
Yeah.
here.
Call somebody who cares.
Off the wall.
Yeah, I have it. They brought it into me because mine didn't work.
I didn't know we were even using those
carrying
anymore.
the
I thought it
heater
was
again.
just the
No,
ones
they're-
on the
So,
computer.
no, so they said, you need to push that one. Well, then they pushed it and it didn't work because the battery was dead in it. So
So
they,
what happened with the ones on the computer then? Is
Uh,
that the one she did or? she
yes,
did
that's
the other?
when she did, was the one on the computer, and they did not work. Your office did not work when
Yeah,
Patrick,
Larry's email said it's something to do
yes, with
the
the frequencies and,
Oh.
yeah,
the way they talk
Yeah.
on the radios.
The new,
Yes.
the new frequencies of VHF or whatever you call it.
yes, exactly,
Interfered with that.
right. So he,
911.
they told me from now on, call 911 if somebody isn't here right away. And then Shelley she was visibly upset. Nobody worried about me because I got a big mouth and I'll take care of it, which I did.
That's
But
scary.
she was shaking, and that customer said to her, she said, are the mother of one of the young kids, are you okay? And she said, I just need a minute. And I mean, she couldn't type or anything. And then when we got ready to leave that evening, everybody was a little apprehensive about going outside. Is he sitting outside? Because then when he left, he went the wrong way down that street. And I told dispatch I would not make a good witness because I said it wasn't a pickup, it wasn't a car. It was kind of the square thing that was light blue, but I did get part of the license plate number. So they were going to see if they could see him on camera and stuff. But I just didn't know if that was something I could do
Absolutely.
to refuse if he comes back. I told him, don't ever come back here, ever. And then the last thing is, we did 51 driver's license yesterday. 90% of them were Pot County.
How many, 51?
51.
Doesn't surprise me.
90, because Pot County is out until the end of August, and the last thing I saw is they are probably not going to go away from appointments. And they're out now until the end of August. So I think we're going to be
And they
seeing.
don't care how many, I heard, I don't know how big their office is up there, how many people do it, but I've heard that each person might do 3 per hour.
I think
Not
that's how they're set up. They do one every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Was what I had read
If
in
it
a.
takes that long, that's quite a long time, really.
It is. If it's just a simple renewal or something, yes, it is. Because you can get those knocked out in about 10 minutes. We are closing our door promptly at 4 o'clock, and we tell people that regardless of if you are in line or not, we are closing the door at 4 o'clock. Otherwise, we would be here all night.
Yeah.
We've had a few people a little upset about it that have driven down from Council Bluffs, but if they call on the phone, we tell them that on the phone. We are closing the door promptly at 4 o'clock. I don't care if you're in line or not. Otherwise, we would never get out of here. So, and then, of course, everybody knows interest rates are down. So I did talk to Malvern Bank, and they gave me a 1.15 for 1 year on a CD that came due, and I was at 2.5, but that was still better than anybody else could. Yeah, that was better than anybody else could do. Most of them were under 1, so I did go ahead and lock it in with Malvern Bank. So, but I only did it for a year, so hopefully maybe things will come up since then. But I will come back next week with some resolutions on some of these things and see what we can do.
Well, come
about
back when you're in a little more cheerful mood, will you?
Yeah.
And bring our button back.
Yeah.
Where was it? Oh, it
You-
was right there. I
you-
didn't even know we had
You
one
are
here.
on your own. I think your battery didn't work either. I think you had to put batteries
Well,
in all of
we don't
them.
even have a
Yeah.
computer to punch
We're
anyway. I don't know if that one works on
I hear you
911 or
from-
not,
you
Lonnie.
were-
Oh, I did. I thought we
Exactly,
were.
you push.
Protected.
I thought we were safe. Now your office did work, right? For some reason, her office worked.
And that will ring right to the police station.
Yes.
This red button right here, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that's not it. It's
Oh,
a
it's an
exclamation point in it. It's a red button down in the corner that has an exclamation
Don't hit the
point.
red button.
Yeah,
Don't
you're
hit
that
the
red,
button.
that red button's not
It
gonna,
doesn't work anyway, so.
that button's not gonna do you any good. No, I will bring your button back if you need your button in here. But yeah,
We'll get hold of Larry.
Yep.
Patrick.
Now, you stop
Stop.
him.
Yeah.
He will never come back in here.
okay, well, I didn't know if I had that authority or not, but
You're back.
I told him, don't you ever come back
That's
here
right.
again, ever.
That's right.
And he was a big
Oh.
guy,
Oh,
so.
I
So.
didn't know who that was.
Shelley didn't get his name because she said when he started throwing that stuff at me, that very distinct, big black guy. So very, yeah. Mhm.
Ah,
Yep. So,
alrighty.
okay, I think that's all I got.
Thanks, kiddo. An exciting week, huh?
Yeah, yeah. And did you notice how fast I talked so I didn't keep up taking all your time?
I don't know, Luann, whether you can follow this show or not, man. You got your,
You gotta bring your own monkeys. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jill. This will be easy.
Yeah,
Are we still doing audio?
yeah, we're still recording.
Can I sit back there? Can I write over? I just want to talk about the ATV fees.
Yep.
Last year when, it was approved, it was 30 and it was going down to 15 the second year. I was hoping we could be more conformed with a little continuity of having the same fees, because we are, when they do come back in to renew, we would be, you'd have to go back and look it up and find, because they don't have any paperwork with them that
We're
says
always
anything.
scrounging for nickels here to find something for any department, and I would just soon see it at 50 a year period. Those are $30,000 machines they're driving. They can afford $50 a year to do it. But
I did talk to Pot County, I talked to Mark, the recorder. They do not have it right now, but I'm not sure when they meet, is it on Wednesday or Thursday, that they're suggesting $50.
a year, I'm just
Mhm.
sticking with it.
Mhm.
Yeah. It costs you hundreds of dollars to do your car. Most of those machines are worth more than people's cars.
And you don't have to decide today if you want
No,
to table it,
no.
or,
you
I
know,
just didn't know what,
right, go
because
ahead.
they have to show proof of insurance, they have to show proof of ownership. So we take that paperwork and we scan it, so we would have to go back in and find it to see if that person has re-registered. I don't know. I know Tyler said it could always be amended.
Yeah, we can change anything.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what your opinion is on this situation.
Currently, it's, what did you say? I'm sorry, I was.
First year's 30, second year's 15, from then on. And you've got more than that in it. So, I mean, why do something to lose money to help somebody? It's at least make $1 on it.
We've done 90 so far this year, which I think is pretty good considering the COVID and some people
I could
weren't.
come up with 6 or 8 that have done nothing
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
until law enforcement starts
Catch
stepping
them.
up and helping us, you know. And that's part of their job, but, oh well.
You mean someone that's not registered then?
Yeah, no, they ride them up and down the road all the time, and
And it's not ag related.
oh,
nothing to do
you
with it.
can kind of say that. Yeah.
Most of the ag people are 4-wheel drives and gators. That's not it. It's the UTVs. It's 15 versus 50. $35 for a year.
It cost me that much for my little pickup.
Fill your
Well, it
tank.
does.
Fill your tank twice, and you're gonna have that in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's worth $50.
We did.
Well, you're right, they're
To her.
$30,000 machines, and if
To
you
her.
can
Yeah,
afford to
yeah.
have one, then.
We shouldn't break ourselves to let someone drive a 4-wheeler on the road.
And it is on the public
Yes.
highway.
Yeah.
I didn't know what your opinion, but it would be it'd be better for our office to have some continuity, be a uniform fee instead of going down.
I think we ought to do bicycles too.
We did have that little mini truck, or what were those?
Yeah,
What
yeah,
did
you
what
showed
did
me
they end
that.
up doing with that?
Tyler said no.
And when did they start allowing bikers on 34? I hate that.
What do you mean bikers?
It's a
on
public
34?
road.
So they can do that?
Well,
Yes.
sure.
Oh,
You're talking bicycle bikers? Or
Yes,
you're
you
talking,
can.
oh,
That's-
well, yeah,
bicycle bikers.
they have more rights than you realize, and
You
I
don't,
wouldn't
you
push
don't
that button.
remember the case up in Crawford County where the
Rag thing?
Ragbri guy got killed because he hit a crack in a county road and it flipped him on his bike, caused brain damage, and he died. And a whole bunch of us counties kind of went together and stood behind him. I mean, they still lost the lawsuit. And I was in Lonnie's position, and they asked all of the presidents to come in from the districts and go sit in on this hearing they had. And when their lawyers walked in pinstripe suits and carrying $100,000 briefcases. Bill Peterson turned around to me and he says, boys, do we want to leave now or later? I mean, they want everything. That's where all these rules and laws came from. I mean,
So the family went back on the county and,
It's public road.
well, and see, that's the
Listen to
reason,
that. Oh
that's
my
the reason a
God,
lot of
Randy.
counties don't want
But
the
it's
bikers to come
Oh.
through. I mean, Kevin, we went out to Henderson twice since they've I've been on the board, and we sweep the One Rock Road up there with a sweeper, so they can ride down it to get on E59.
Well, we got trails, don't you?
They don't use
So
the
what would you like
trails.
to see that?
I would like to see it at 50. But we can be somewhere in the middle. I guess my main concern is to keep it the same, not go
Yeah.
down the second year.
You've got to
or the-
document it, you've got your time, you've got to file, it's gonna be a bigger problem with as the years go on, you have to go back and find them and, or they re-register them as a new one. It's, your time's worth something. I don't think the county should lose money to help 90 people.
And I do think I'm thinking we would have more
You
next
get more.
year
You get
as the
more.
word gets
I'm
out.
noticing that even at nighttime, how they're going down on
Mhm.
250th.
Are they?
Well, you guys wanna make a formal action? You wanna discuss it later? You wanna?
I just soon do it now, whatever, I mean,
I'm
either
good with
leave it
that.
at $30 or raise it, or if you're satisfied, I mean, if this board's satisfied with 30, I would stay with 30. If the majority says they want to raise it, I'm all right with that too.
As long as we're the same, you know.
Don't be jumping up and down, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
There's
I
always
think
the middle part, you go to 40.
There you go.
Yeah, but then
$40 a year.
you have to redo all your paperwork, even if we raise it.
it's in the ordinances. I brought copies
Well, I know
down.
that, but what I'm saying is, the paperwork and stuff they would bring in then, or being we raised it to 40.
No,
Okay.
because we give them the form to fill out.
Okay,
And we don't make I mean, we have quite a few right now, but it'll get us through the year.
okay.
Give me a motion.
I'll make motions to rest on $30. Is that all right with you two?
Keep it at 30.
I second it.
Okay, this will be to move forward, because we can't just change the resolution with
No.
with a.
Like starting January
yeah.
1st.
So to move forward, we'll have a resolution that will have to get drawn up, and then we'll act on that too. But
Okay. You know, last year when we started doing them, we didn't actually start registering them until January, so I didn't know, would it
Yeah.
start right
So do
at
they all
January
come in
again?
January, then is that when their
Well,
renewals
this will be
are?
our first.
Oh, okay,
If-
as when
if
it started in
Yeah, if I went to
January.
license mine now, it would be good till January, and then I have to start over in January.
So I didn't know, maybe,
Yeah. So we'll get with Tyler. You may not, or Nick or Nada. Tyler's gone. You may want to get with them to get a resolution written up, and
Tyler will be back on the 10th, they said.
we can make it effective
email it to
January
them.
1. You want to make it
Yeah.
effective?
Yeah, make it
Those in
effective
between is Jag-
January 1 of
Okay.
2021.
So it gives us a little time to work on it. So
Okay,
All right.
okay, thank
you,
you.
Luann.
Okay,
Would you like to come back again?
now don't throw your plate away.
I
And
my plate away. I'm not jogging or putting up a fence, so I'm not,
How about put a water line in? You gonna put a water line in?
you know?
I think we ought to run fiber right next to it.
See, I think we should.
He's got fiber in front of his house. But he can't.
I know,
What
I
good's
got
it doing
fiber
me?
within a half mile of my house. Yeah, those people, that you ever contact or run into them people I give you names of?
I'm not talking to them.
And I haven't had time to get back with them, and they said if anything changed, you know, because what they was looking for was an emergency clause where we could get funding from this account,
Mhm.
which I think is totally asinine and stupid, but, and I told the lady that, and she says, I agree, sir. She says, I don't know what you call an emergency
Yeah.
approval on broadband. I says, I've got one. She says, what? We don't have any. She says,
that's probably the best emergency.
well, what else?
Right there.
Hey, you know, I says, We just want
If
the
you look
money.
at the charts, we do.
I
Yeah,
know,
Yeah,
That's
I
the
was
problem.
told that.
yeah.
I says, no, we're in the category of being, well, I wasn't nice with her, but she was
Lied
very,
to, cheated.
very acceptable. I says, we've got screwed on that. She says, yes, I know, sir. I know exactly where you're at. So,
Yeah.
you know, they're aware, but
Yeah. Well, it's a quick update. So, with the RFI, we actually did a delay, and part of that was we just wanted to get it all right, and so legal's gone over this completely, so now it's kind of perfect, done form. But the other part of the delay was there's been some grants that have come up, and one of them was the state cares grants, and part of that's they've put aside like 50 million or 55 million for broadband. So that's a big deal. Yeah, I mean, up till now we've been talking like 2 or 3 million, and now this is 55 million. And and we were thinking, well, if you guys have, whatever, around $1 million, and then if if there was like Western Iowa Networks or something, if they were going to go for a grant, could we go in like joint application or at least a strong support and that sort of thing. And so we wanted to see that play out as to would that be beneficial or not? Could that bring more grant money here or not? And as it turns out, the answer is no.
What reason?
Well, because let me rephrase that. To figure out what the state's really looking for and what really will help your grant, we have conversations with people on the grant committee and that sort of thing. Western Iowa Networks contacted them because the grant has to come from a provider. The grant application has to come from a provider. So the county couldn't, because you don't operate that utility.
Or we could have become a provider.
no.
Yeah, and so with those kind of being like, that's not really gonna work. So it has to come from a provider. And then Western Iowa Networks, Jeff's conversations with them, it seemed to him that wasn't particularly, that they weren't gonna really look at, is the county gonna do something or not? It really is, what are you gonna do? And we're gonna go on those merits. And so with that, we kind of said, okay, if Jeff doesn't think that we will help them, then why, we don't really need to do, what would we do to help if Jeff doesn't think it's gonna help? So it's kind of like, okay, so they're gonna go ahead and they're gonna go ahead and apply for the grant. We did, Jeff, and we're talking with Jeff about, well, what can we do? Jeff said, well, some letters of support could help. And so got some stuff to Lonnie. The economic development, Marco has put in a letter that we got to Jeff. Farm Bureau put in a letter of support for it. And I don't think they're gonna do that anywhere else in the state. So, and they did. We got that all worked through, and
That's huge.
and we've already sent that letter on through.
I bet the school would be a good partner to get in there to write a
I
letter.
think Devin did too, didn't he?
I think he did. Yeah, as part of the committee, I think he did.
I got from
Yeah.
Jeff this morning, said, I'm sure he said the school was involved in it.
Yeah, I was reading your notes here and it said Farm Bureau and I'm sitting here going, Farm Bureau.
Yeah.
Boy, if they would get behind this, that would be a tremendous push for the whole state.
Yeah, and exactly. So, do you know Jason Wetzel? He's took over as the regional guy in 2000 last year, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So got a hold of Jason and talked with him, and he said, well, this is something we need to look at, but at least for Mills County, he could get with Kurt Frazee and we can get a letter done, and they did. So we've got a letter supporting for that. I don't think there's going to be another one in the state on the CARES Act. So I think that was kind of a coup on our part. But anyway, so those are all done and in. They're going to submit their application today. So with that gives us time to go ahead and get, because if we were going to be, if there was some way that we could be tied to that grant application to help make sure we get grant money, that was one thing to talk over. But since that's not going to happen, do what we can to support the grant application, but then that gives us also time to go ahead and do the RFI, get the RFI done. And there's no reason not to, right? Because So you guys had said let move forward with that the last time I was here, and so we're going to send that out today.
I don't know whether you've been informed or not, maybe you have, but, you know, we got 125 billion given to the state. 85 million of that's gonna be used for broadband access and IT help. And I don't know whether you know, but that, I don't know when they're gonna break that out. You know, that could be a year from now or,
Mhm.
you know,
It wouldn't be now.
but, you know, I'm hoping that they put some things in there that everybody can use.
Mhm. Yep.
Whether you've started your process or not, you should be entitled to it.
Yep. And you know that's one thing. Just so you guys know, you know, Lonnie had mentioned the maps and all that, and you know the maps are a mess, and everybody knows they're a mess, but still, that's what the FCC is using, and then the state said, okay, we'll use that too, and we'll use the FCC data, and it's just
I mean, that throws us out of a lot of,
it's a mess.
yeah.
And we've got some of that fixed. It just hasn't because it's a year cycle. We got some of it fixed already, but that won't even show up on those maps until the end of this year or into 2021. So what we've been doing is on a case-by-case basis, we've been going back and using that broadband study that we did has been worth gold because they submit that with every grant application, and they're submitting it with this one too. And what that basically says is, here's all the proof that it's wrong, and then if whoever's going to apply for the grant, which last time was Western Iowa Networks too, they actually put in the specific addresses, or not addresses, but blocks that they said, look, these are not right. And then we actually all said, and even in my letter, I said, I can tell you these are not right, and here's why. They actually won that. I don't know where that grant went, but they won the appeal at the map. And so that's all work we have to do. So my point is, the maps are a mess, but we've actually got some decent stuff in place, and we've figured out a pretty good way to combat that if we need to. So when that money does come available,
Hopefully the maps will be accurate.
hopefully the maps will be more accurate for sure. But even if they're not quite right yet, we still have the way to go against them. The CARES Act, they put it on such a short fuse, this 55 million, they put it on such a short fuse that they actually said, we're not doing map challenges. But they
And
also,
they're using the old stuff and not the new stuff yet.
right. But they said, so we're not doing challenges to the map, but if you can show the compelling need for what you're asking for, we'll go ahead and consider it. I don't know how that logic works. To me, that's kind of a full circle logic. But anyway, but we have taken that approach though, and with getting the stuff into Jeff, you know, with Farm Bureau saying, look, the maps are ridiculous. I mean, here's the problems, and that's what their letter said. So I think Western Iowa Networks will probably get some money out of this. My guess is. Okay, so, but that gives us time to go ahead and do the RFI, which we can get out on the street today. And then with that, I'm going to talk to Jeff and ask him to make sure he responds, because they're responding along with anybody else that responds, which I don't know who will, but there could be several, there may not be. But if Jeff responds, then we can go ahead and start talking about even routes that they could look at if no one else responds, or if theirs is the strongest. You know, who knows what we'll get in? I mean, we may get really cool ideas. You know, if I think there will be some people that respond, but that gives us time, even with Western Iowa Networks, to say, okay, you're going to be getting this grant money, hopefully. Let's talk over some options of what could be best for the county for connecting the most people as fast as we can. If there's any things that need to be connected to be able to connect more people, and anything economic development related. You know, let's see what we can talk to Jeff in the meantime while they're working this grant. While the RFI is out, we can be talking with them as part of the RFI about some routes that might be best for them to do.
One of the questions that has come up here in the last week the last few days has been through economic development, Marco working on the mega site.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the stipulations there is, you know, water, sewer, paving, fiber.
Yeah.
And what's there, if not, how close is it? So coming in on Kidd Road and down Ingram to the school and looping that back in instead of looping it over on Silver City Highway, into their trunk, if we looped it, another loop coming on Kidd and Ingram by the school, it would catch Hughes's new subdivision, which would be 50, 75 homes. And the school, which Spiral serves, but Western Iowa bought Spiral, but we could loop ours with where we came in on Pizza Hut and the jail, and then we come up to here.
Yep.
So it'd be another loop to feed it a couple different ways, and it would help the mega site or look more appealing. So,
Sure.
you know, we talked about our Silver City route, but and I think we're all in agreement on that. But the little fingers here and there, if we have any funds to do that, that's one that would be a good option for us.
So what we're looking at doing while we have this time is to say, okay, Jeff, what are you asking for grant money for? So what are you going to be doing? And then what, like Silver City, you know, what routes are available that, or what routes could we do that would make the most sense? What would those cost? And let's start figuring out, you know, who would put money, what money in to do what. And then if we get other responses from RFIs that are really good, then we can say, okay, wait a minute, let's start prioritizing these, you know.
Exactly.
Someone may have another idea that we just haven't come up with, but you never know.
You never know, and that's the whole point, is just to find out.
It hurts nothing.
It hurts nothing. Yeah, and we're not even delaying anything, because
Right.
right now we're waiting on what the grant money's gonna be on this.
Right.
And also, in both as part of the RFI and in talking with Jeff, just so you guys know, you know, the steps will be, you know, just kind of what we've been talking about, the steps will be, so what are the options? What money, with the county putting in some money, what money would other people put in? And then it goes to the, like a contract level, and the contract needs to have some very specific things in it, and some of them are in the RFI, but we've been kind of, you know, making sure these are all clear. The things are like, how can you make sure that yours isn't stranded? So say if you put in some fiber, and say if a partner that you put in fiber with, who is doing the operating, say if they sold, well, you don't want something that's just going to be stuck there that's not connected. So it's things like that. Just technologically, you know, how can it not be stranded? How does the ownership work, and how do the lease payments work? You know, there's all those, just some different pieces that as this moves forward, when it gets to the contract level, when you put in yours, the contract you sign with somebody to operate it and to connect it, there's just certain things you're going to have to be protected on. And we've been talking those over with Jeff, just so Jeff's aware. They're basically in here, but you know, those are all just things those are the steps: is identify routes, talk about who's investing what, who's going to be lit up. There needs to be restrictions on how quickly people have to be lit up, because you can't say we'll put it in 5 years from now there'll be people getting service. You know, it has to be.
We want more than one a year.
Yeah. Who's going to be in what cycle, how fast, you know, all those things will need to be contractual. So.
And I'm just sitting here thinking, once the people start seeing digging is processed, they're gonna say, oh, it's just gonna be a quorum of, why am I the last one? Or that's just gonna, because everybody's just dying to get it now.
Yeah. You know,
That's gonna
if
be
there's a
big
lot
problem.
of interest, you know, there are ways to have that interest turn into stuff. And so, like, for example, if there's enough people that are saying there's enough interest, then that actually is things we can take to providers and say, okay, look, there's this group here and this level here, you know, would you consider that sort of thing? Because they'll listen to that. They just have to make financial sense, but they'll listen to it. Yeah, and then just last thing I wanted to bring up. So as far as our work and that sort of thing, we feel it's really important for you to design and lead the construction of your part. So whatever you spend has to be your design. It's fine to work with a provider to make sure it meets their specs, so it works in their system. That's fine, as long as that meets your needs too. But you, even talking to Jeff, just said, well, yeah, it has to be your guys. You have to own it, so it has to be yours, and you have to design it and the construction, all that kind of stuff. So really, as we're talking about the steps here, you know, it's figuring out the routes, figuring out the costing, seeing who's going to contribute what, getting to the contract, and then we go to design. So as part of design, or as we're moving down that path, one other thing I'll need to bring with you is kind of contract of how we would want to do that, and let you see that. And the nice thing is we're not adding a dime to the cost. I mean, everything has to be engineered. No providers do their own engineering, so we're not adding a penny to the cost. It's just, it needs to be in your camp, not someone else's. And that's something we would like to do, and I'd like to bring the contract, start talking about the contract for that, if that's,
I'd like to use you, so.
oh, appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, appreciate that. So that'll be we'll be wanting to get that done as we're going, because once we've identified the routes, once we've got all the contract stuff done, we actually wanted to start design so that we can get to construction as quick as possible. So,
Super.
yeah. Any questions? That was,
Grab another bagel.
oh, no. I gotta go home and jog now, so.
Hey, dog will. You gotta watch him play with his dog.
The dog does 90% of the running. She does. Yeah. I get to walk around with her. No other questions?
We'll put another dollar in the
Thank
meter
you.
out there,
Great
will you?
job.
Yeah, sure will. Yeah. Thanks, y'all.
Great job. Thank you.
All right, keep moving.
Okay.
Mark, you said when the board shows up down there to bring food.
Take him a bag of chips. Okay.
For broadband partnership, that's
you
kind
want-
of him, wasn't
That
it?
was him,
Yep.
kinda, that's,
I don't know if we gotta move forward with anything, Richard, we're just
As long as
still,
we keep moving on,
yeah,
that's,
yeah,
yeah.
and it is
He was
moving,
present for
It is
discussion and,
yeah.
okay. Okay, so Tyler had told me to authorize the chair to sign asbestos contract upon the agreement by the ATC. Apparently Nick thinks he needs to be here for something, I'm not sure what, with regards to that, so I'll text him.
Why didn't we do these driveway variances when Corey was here?
Well, because he wants you to drive there. He does
He wants
not
us to
want,
see
it.
he
Oh,
wants
we're
you
gonna
to go in
on
the
an
car.
outing.
Yes, you're actually
Oh,
going.
we haven't had an
What
outing.
he's-
You're
what he's-
virtual.
What he's got down there, I mean, he
Where we
showed it to
going?
you, your house.
Okay.
You should, well, if you wanna come back, you can probably drive and just go from there home. Unless you wanna
Except
come
you
back
gotta
and then
make
go
a-
back down.
You gotta make a formal action after that, after you come back.
we can do it out there.
That's okay. I got things I gotta do. I gotta get ready for.
I believe we've done that in the past.
I'm not over here, I'm over here.
Make me dizzy alone.
There's two
This
fields.
is Cheryl Dashner's farm. When Tackett did this subdivision, this is his existing subdivision here. There's a few houses in here.
Ralph Tackett.
I don't know who he bought it from. And this is Mark Hughes's now. Mark wants to put a lot right here, and he can because he has the access to it. But I don't. This line is not 100% on. This driveway doesn't really feed this house. This
No,
is
it
the
doesn't,
driveway to
does
the
it?
house.
Yeah.
I mean, the bump is still here, but this line is actually roughly here. I mean, it does catch part of the drive, but it's not, it doesn't get used by the house. So when Corey was worried about us serving this guy, the farm, and Mark's house with 3 people, it could, there's enough here to where you could get a car in and peel it over and drive through their front yard, but they're not. They're using their drive. I mean, this is their front yard. They really don't have to. So it would be a double drive. Mark wants to make it a little wider to get it out on his side. That's what he wants.
Why don't they just make that a separate?
Make what a separate.
Instead of adding to that drive line? Is that what he wants? Just that, make that longer?
He wants to extend it down here. Extend it farther onto him.
Okay.
Cheryl has no intention of developing any of this. This isn't wide enough to put a county road in because it's like 22 feet or 25 feet. So it doesn't meet any spec. It'll never be for a road that comes in and out of here in our lifetime. Unless someone bought the house and knocked it down, then it would have 300 feet to work with. But in a nutshell, it's going to serve this farm and this place. The lot that he's going to cut off. There's enough there now that he can. He just wants to extend it to make it prettier. But it's wide now. But that's what Mark wants. I'm not sure what Corey's thinking. Corey said serving 3 houses.
3 houses.
Well,
Okay,
it'd be
that,
this,
the farm,
one
But he
house,
would have
the
another
farm,
and whoever.
Oh,
and then this
oh.
piece here. But it's not gonna serve this house.
It's already
It's,
served.
some of it touches it, and they can drive in and out of there if they wanted to haul something into their backyard and put a paneling up and leave, but why,
They've got a pretty
why would
driveway.
why would they come down here where their septic is when they can drive all the way up through here and come out here?
Yeah.
So, what the guy would do was drive down here along the fence line and come in the backyard and drive on the farmer anyway, probably. So no, it's not gonna serve 3 houses, but legally, it could. But this guy
Is that a deep
hates Mark.
ditch since you've been
Huh?
walking that? Is that a deep ditch in that timber?
This
No,
one here?
right along that
No,
line?
no, not at all.
Not at
No.
all?
No,
Okay.
it's a fence line you can drive down. That's how,
Okay,
that's one of the ways in and out for the farmer.
so you can drive through that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, yep,
I didn't know if there was,
yep.
okay. So is Mark wanting to put that whole section and add that creek, that timber line to it? I mean, how, oh, he's gonna go right there.
That'll be a lot.
That'll be a lot.
And that's 600 feet deep. You know, it's,
Big lot.
they're big lots. And he wanted to go a little smaller, but that's when Board of Adjustment shut him down, but it's understandable. But now they're big. I mean, they were big when he would have got the adjustment because the acres are still there, just not the width.
Mhm. Apparently they're finding water.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, water's been good. They had, these wells have been in the 200, 250, the one down here
Okay.
was over 400.
Ooh.
But this is high right in here.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
that's the top of the bluff. Perry Cook lives right here.
Yeah.
So Secretary all the way to Mexico, right?
Okay.
Asbestos contract?
Okay, so, Tyler told me that if you would approve it upon agreement by ATC, he's got the draft here. Did he share any more with you that,
Pretty standard fare. It's just pretty much same format as everything else. $1,000 a day penalty if they don't get it done on time. Blah 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 blah. Pretty standard contract. I read through it again this morning. Tyler asked me to look it over again this morning just to be sure, grammatical and stuff like that. I didn't see anything. He's not seen anything. Alexis, we haven't heard anything from SWIPCO, yay or nay on it. So assumption is no news is good news. So
Other than Don Gross wants our stuff.
Don Gross wants a copy of everything that we do.
Give it to him. Just give it to him for Christmas.
But not
fortunately,
before.
Tyler has some of
Right.
what he wants. Tried to call me to sweet talk me the other day.
Mm-hmm. Look. Should we sign it, guys?
Okay, make a motion, sign the
Better.
asbestos contract.
Upon agreement by ATC. So you may not be signing it yet. I mean, do we want him to just go ahead and sign it now or wait till we know? I
You
mean,
can sign it now. I mean, worst case scenario, if we do have to make a change, we can make the change and then
I'll sign another one.
re-sign another one.
We've got a motion and a second to authorize the chair to sign the asbestos contract with ATC. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just trying to expedite the process as much as
Yeah, I
possible.
agree.
Do I have to sign it?
Yes, you do. The next item on the agenda is the CDBG payment number 53.
Get back to you then.
I'll move to
Thank
repay
you.
the Iowa and JEO.
I second it.
We've got a motion and a second to approve the CDBG payment number 53. 53. A lot of payments.
A lot of them.
Any
A
discussion?
lot of them.
Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Alright. To the auditor. We're down to the driveway visit.
Yeah, I told her you're ready.
I'm gonna run over to my office. I'll just meet you there. So I gotta go down that way anyway after that. Put a
This,
strip and show you down by
little,
Tim's.
sketch
up.
plat, sir,
Be manager.
is this,
What's that?
what am I, is this gonna be a parcel A or what?
Reefs, yeah, well, yeah, I can help you fill that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what, I got a couple to bring over. Why don't I just
Okay.
take it and then I'll bring it over with the
Yeah.
others.
Oh my God, Steve needs to talk to you. Wonder where this is gonna be at.
Oh, did you get anything from Lucas?
I did, just this morning.
Right.
Yep,
You
yep.
still, I'm gonna call mine, and you want me to just tell him if you want yours yet, or do you wanna change, or?
Well,
Are you-
I didn't read it, I just saw that he sent an email.
Staying president in
Anything else?
District 4.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay. See, this is, if we was going to Isaac, the end of the month, they would list every, district that needed a new president or something, or a change. And being you wanna stay the same, he'll just put it out that way,
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
okay?
We're done for now?
Yes, yep, we'll adjourn for now until we get back from the driveway. Thank you.